are back for your early look DFS props and betting show for the MLB. I'm Jay. That's Adam. We've been crushing it throughout the entire year, man. We're getting into the dog days of the summer, leading into the playoffs. Make sure you check us out at windailysports.com. Also, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. We are almost at 2,000 subscribers. Big milestone for us. We've been doing this for quite some time. Put it in the work. Make sure you subscribe. Once we hit 2,000 subscribers, we're going to pick one of our subscribers and give out a Win Daily hat and a free year of gold access, which is over $500 of membership to a lucky winner. We'll randomly select somebody as soon as we get to 2,000. But getting into the slate, I was on here yesterday with my guy Dave. We were picking home run props, but we were focusing on pitchers. And I said pretty much there's like 8 or 9 guys that you can go with. Most of those guys smashed. Now it's the total opposite. Before the show, I basically said, Adam, this is not a great pitching slate. Luckily, though, we were on the same 5 guys, but we narrowed the player pool. We're talking pretty big slate. So only got 5 guys that were even interested, and some we really got to push out there. We're not really like loving, but they're playable. We're going to go through those pitchers. And appreciate you, Jimmy. I hope you've been playing these home run props. Seager hit today. That was Dave. Lindor hit a home run. I didn't pick him today. I picked him yesterday. I picked Alonso today. Not looking so good other than that, unless he hits a late home run. Still got a couple guys going, so we'll see how that does. But, Adam, let's get into this pitcher, man. We got a guy named, I think his name is Justin Verlander. Super old, but probably the Cy Young winner. How's this guy doing it at this age flawlessly?
Yeah, I mean, I think Ohtani could still give him a run for the Cy Young, but, Verlander's been just lights out. If you've read my work through the year, I've kind of always been a little, I don't want to say light on him, but it's always kind of freaked me out when somebody's xFIP is, around 2 runs higher than the ERA, which is the case for Verlander. So it does freak me out to be that far apart, but I mean, listen, we're in August and the guy just keeps on doing it. The K rate's 25.5%. He's still getting an 11.4 swing strike rate, even though his 4-seam, it's down to just a 16.6% whiff rate. And he's doing it with those sliders and curves, man. He knows where to put them. He knows how to get swings and misses, and he knows how to get guys out. And the thing that really works for him in this spot is not only does Texas have the 8th highest K rate against righty pitching, he's at his absolute best against lefties in the lineup because he has a 201 WOBA, a 27.5% K rate, and a 0.75 whip. It just makes so much sense against Texas lineup that's probably going to play 5 or 6 lefties here.
Yeah, and on top of that, 2 games started, 13 innings pitched, 1 earned run, 16 Ks, averaging 30.6 DK points against him. This guy is really been crushing it the entire season. I think he gets the Cy Young, but like you said, Ohtani can sneak up on him. The other guy that maybe, I don't even know, NL, who is your Cy Young, vote right now? Is it Sandy, who's also pitching? His stats, 0.94 whip, 1.8 ERA, 141 Ks, on the season. Is he winning it in the NL? Or is there somebody that is ahead of him at this point? What's your thoughts there? And how do you like him tomorrow going against a very, very hot Phillies team, man?
Yeah, I mean, he's probably the favorite. I don't know if the sports books would agree with me, but in my mind, I think he's the favorite. What's really interesting is going to be where the ownership falls, because there really is no punt pitcher that makes a ton of sense. There's options, but I don't know who's going to be chalky because people are going to want to go back to Coors Field. Obviously, the Rockies were in double-digit runs by the 3rd inning last night against Miles Mikolas, let alone a lefty in Jose Quintana. It's a pretty good spot for him. So, people are going to want to try and fit in some of those hitters. So, if Sandy Alcantara is half the ownership of Justin or Verlander, you really have to consider in GPP potentially making that swap. Because Alcantara, while his K rate's not quite the same, it's only 2% lower than Verlander. He just came through a complete game shutout, and he leads the league in innings by 13.1 innings. That's an immense amount, having the same amount of starts. Aaron Nola second. He leads by almost 2 full games for a normal pitcher. He's just like he's a complete game threat every single time out. And if there's one thing that can cool down hot bats, it's a Cy Young caliber pitcher like Alcantara.
Yeah, listen, ownership I would feel would be down on Alcantara on a regular slate. On this slate, since pitching is so weak, it might still be propped up a little bit. I'm slightly worried, about the Phillies lineup. I haven't been worried about them all year long. Like there wasn't a
They're
point in
hot.
time the
They're red
entire
hot right
season that like I was like, Philly, I'm really worried about these guys. But a little worried at this point. They got a couple of big bats from left hand side. Baum and Castellanos finally starting hitting as well. This team is fighting, for a playoff berth. And I'm trying to stay away of playoff teams pitching against them or teams that are fighting for playoff berth. They're fighting for their lives right now. So that's the only worry there. But there's also a steep drop off. No thanks to anybody else in the 10K or 9K or even 8K range for me. I'm pretty much crossing them off. And I will take a couple shots, not in love, but a couple shots at Noah Syndergaard against Miami, hoping that he gets to win, hoping that the Phillies stay hot. But he's probably my least favorite of the value guys because he's 7,900 on DraftKings. Madison Bumgarner at 6,900. A little bit more interesting. He pitches better at home, averages around 6 points better at home. Look, he can flash this K upside maybe every third game. He gets out there and goes out and pitches, versus his weaker teams. He has 2 starts in July against weak offenses at home, Washington and Colorado. 32 against Washington, 8 innings, 9 Ks, 7 innings, 5 Ks, 22 points versus Colorado. So if you get 20 points at 6,900, I think that's a good spot there. And I know you might not like this, Adam, but this guy, Chris Bubik, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing his name right. I hate saying his name, but, at 5,500, he's gotten, in his last 6 starts above 9. Chicago, not really a team that I'm too worried about. If you want to stack some of these big lineups, 5,500, you get 8, you're okay. You get 10, you're fine. You get anything over 12, you're extremely happy. And I think he can get you there. So if you want to rank those guys, or if you want to add somebody to the mix, go right ahead, man.
So I kind of, I don't even want to say wrote up because it's a lukewarm write up for these guys because we have to have 2 pitchers on DK, and like I said, we want to fit some bats. Syndergaard, I think, is okay. I mean, my issue with him is it's very difficult to point to something and say, okay, well, this is what Syndergaard does well. This is what we can lean on, even in a bad matchup.
He's got good hair.
Yeah, I mean,
good hair, maybe.
He's got better hair than I do. I'm not sure if that helps him on the mound. I think I might be able to hold runners better than he does. Definitely. And that's always a concern because if people start getting on base, they can usually advance a base pretty easily on Syndergaard, and that leads to earn runs. So I think he's fine. I don't love him at the price. I think Chris Bubich might be my favorite punt guy, and that sounds crazy to say, but when we talk about game logs, it's not just we're looking at point here, right? Because this would be one thing if he faced teams like the Pirates and the Diamondbacks who haven't hit lefties all year. This guy walked into Yankee Stadium, into Toronto, and put up these scores. It's really been some elite offenses that he's done this against, and he's been using his changeup and his slider a little bit more. That would be a welcome change because his fastball is not that great. But the changeup only allows a 313 WOBA. That's acceptable for where he's at and his salary range. And the thing is, in those 3 games where he really posted good games and strong offenses, the xFIP was no higher than 3.84. So it's not like he got outrageously lucky. Usually, I try and target lefty pitching with the White Sox offense because they're a lot better against that side. But they just lost Tim Anderson for at least the next 4 to 6 weeks. He's been a linchpin in that lineup. They played 2 games on Tuesday, so you have the extra game played, and their season's kind of going down the toilet here. They might be they're in the discussion for the most disappointing team of the season, if they're not the most disappointing team. I can see Bubich hitting 15 plus DK here without, I don't want to say without a problem because I'll look real stupid if he goes out there and just gets hammered, but it's definitely within the realm of possibility. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, Tony La Russa sleeping was the highlight of this White Sox season in the first inning, no less. Like if you fall asleep, like in the sixth or seventh inning, you're down 10. Okay, but you fall asleep in the first inning during like a playoff race, like you're trying to get in the playoffs, something is wrong. And I said it yesterday, man. And this is not a homer call here. So a lot of times, like, what's a manager do? Like, how good can a manager be to change the, sometimes think it's the players a lot, especially the pitchers, hitters, the stars. But I watched some of Buck Showalter's interviews after the game. This dude, like IQ wise, is above so many out there. And at his age, he is super sharp. Like he's quick to come back with like these comments and like intelligent comments. And the best part about it is like he gives guys pounds. He can relate to younger players. So big shout out
Tony
to
La
Buck,
Russa ain't
man.
doing any of that.
Yeah, no. He's like the total opposite. Like he's sleeping. People probably don't like him. He's old school to his own demise. And I always thought La Russa, not knowing, this recent past, that like, on the Cardinals, he looked like the GOAT for a little while. Like, basically like in a National League version of Joe Torre. They just keep winning championships with, not the best talented teams, but they went out there and did it. But let's flip the conversation. Stacks. We'll get to our home run calls. I'm going to pick 2 home runs. Adam's going to pick 2 home runs. But let's start talking about these stacks. We got a couple lineups that are in good spots. You got Toronto versus Creamer. I'll say it. You got Baltimore versus Berrios. Like, Berrios is blow-up potential, or he can go out there and pitch a good game. He pitched a good game against Baltimore, but Baltimore, probably one of the hotter teams in baseball. I really hope they make the playoffs too, man. I really would love to see them in the playoffs. And then you got the obvious Houston versus Glenado, St. Louis versus Kyle Freeland. And then you got, I don't really like to target Quintana. I think he's actually still a good pitcher, kind of like a watered down lefty version. Way watered down lefty version of Verlander. Like he can still go out there and pitch to strikeouts and be effective. So I don't really like Colorado as much as I do like the St. Louis side. I think St. Louis is a better overall hitting team. And then you got Atlanta again versus Pivetta, which I think Boston's pretty much dead in the water here. And Pivetta's been shaky in 2 starts against the Yankees. Hasn't been great as of late, for quite some time. So he has blow-up potential at lower ownership. How do you rate the stacks? Do you have a favorite right now? Are you going back to Core's thoughts around the stacks of the night?
I will definitely be going back to Coors without a doubt. And,
Okay.
it's odd that it kind of happens that Quintana actually just pitched in Coors last month. Pirates made their way out there, and he did not fare very well. 5 innings, 7 hits, 6 earned, only 3 strikeouts, 2 walks. That's definitely within the possibility. Again, the Rockies are typically better suited to face a lefty in the first place. But speaking of teams that are better suited to face a lefty, that is the Cardinals, because this team is way better against a lefty. They get Kyle Freeland, Goldschmidt, Arenado, Tyler O'Neill, Carlson. DeYoung is only 3,400. Yadi Molina should be back in the lineup. He's 2,100. Yeah, it's Yadi Molina's like 80 years old. He might just get you a couple singles, but 2,100 in Coors Field for a catcher is fine. Like, I don't really care what he does if he lets me play Paul Goldschmidt, who is just has ethered lefty pitching this entire year. Like, you put this guy on the moon, and he's going to kill lefty pitching. It doesn't matter where he's playing. We've talked about all the time. The first game is usually disappointing. The second game, not so much. They have that time to acclimate. I think Coors is a lot better looking on paper than it was yesterday. And I almost kind of hope Berrios is chalk a little bit. And I think that might be the pitcher that the field kind of turns to, because they're just going to see Baltimore. They're going to see 7,300. They're going to recognize the name of Berrios. But let me just kick out some stats for him on the road this year. It's in Baltimore. 7.50 ERA. The home run per 9 is 2.50. His K rate drops to 15%, and his xFIP is 480 on the road. If he's chalk, you better believe I will have a Baltimore Orioles stack somewhere along the line tomorrow, without fail. Like, his metrics have just been so bad. There's just so little to redeem him. Lowest K rate since the rookie year, lowest swinging strike rate since the rookie year. He's using his fastball more this year than he did last year. It's giving up a 452 WOBA. I don't know why he's increasing usage when he can't get it by anybody.
Yeah, listen, Berrios, I haven't got him right all season long. I tried playing him a couple times here and there.
Doesn't end
When I don't
well.
play him, he like almost pitches a no-hitter, and then when I play him, he gets shellacked. So I'm off him. I keep saying it. I hint it every show. Don't sleep on Baltimore. Like they're heating up and they're playing for something right now. Don't sleep on Philadelphia. They've been heating up. Obviously, I don't like Philadelphia versus Alcantara, but I think Baltimore's firmly in play. Again, I'd probably rate it. I do have St. Louis at the top. I think Houston will bounce back, against Otto. I think they're in line for some damage. Toronto, Baltimore, slight lean to Toronto over Baltimore, but I wouldn't be surprised if Baltimore goes out there and does it. That's pretty much where I got the stacks rated right now. Just quick update. Like I said, we're going to push for 2,000 subscribers, so make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. And also check out our season-long rankings and our home run model up on WinDailySports.com. If you've been watching the streams, we give it all out for free. So we have a special promo coming up right now. Use promo code STIX22, and you'll get a free month to use our home run model, our projection models, hop in our expert chat, read Adam's article, check out all the content at WinDailySports.com for free. All you got to use promo code STIX22. Season-long rankings are up. Adam, I think we're both going to go to chorus. I'll be the nice guy, and I'll let you pick first. Home run, who do you got for tomorrow? Give me one, then let me get a pick, and then I'll give you the second pick.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm going to take the first pick, I'm going to be chalky, and I don't really care. It's Paul Goldschmidt, lefty, Coors Field, done deal. The guy has like a 500 ISO against that side of the mound this year. Kyle Freeland's nothing that's going to scare me.
Yeah, I don't know what I should do here because I go Lindor and he doesn't home run, gets robbed. Then he hits a home run the next day. So I try to double down on Alonso. He didn't home run. I bet I took Goldie on Tuesday, so it's pretty much guaranteed that he's going to home run today, on Wednesday, being that I don't have him. So I will kind of want to stay in this game. Let's give it under the radar. As long as he starts, which he's been starting pretty much every day, let's go with Paul DeJong. I don't know. Something tells me he can hit a home run. Look, same game, last 10 games, 3 home run. He's kind of like a home run or K guy, turning into like the righty version of Joey Gallo here. So give me some Paul DeJong for my second pick. I'm going to try to come off the chalk a little bit, see if I can break my 0 for 2 curse for the last 2 days. So who's your second pick, though?
So I really do like Matt Olson against Pivetta, but I mean
Nice
you can obviously play them together, if you're just betting, but you can't play them together if you're using DFS unless you're on FanDuel. So I'll give kind of a bonus, and I'll go with Dalton Varsho from Arizona. Past 10 games, 324, an OPS over 1,000, 3 home runs. He's going to get another one against Mitch Keller tomorrow.
Yeah, let's go back. Let me ask you a question. You've been probably watching this team a little bit more than me. How do you feel about Yordan Alvarez? Like, I know he came off the injury list. He's been struggling a little bit more as of late. Do you think he's out there slightly hurt? Because this guy was on fire basically to the All-Star break, then, battling some injuries. What's your thoughts on Alvarez before I make my final pick?
I mean, I think part of it is just he was so white hot. He had to come down at least a little bit. He had probably the best first half of his career, without knowing all the numbers from his entire career. But I would have to go out on a limb and say it was pretty close. But honestly, like with Glenn Otto, even if he's a little bit banged up, I mean, it might not matter.
All right, so let's go with Yordan Alvarez, man. The guy was beasting all year long. So I'm going to go with Alvarez. Any hot takes for tomorrow? I know you mentioned stacking against Barrios. DeJong is cheap at 3,400. Make sure Molina is in the lineup. If he's in the lineup in Coors Field, like you said, 2,100, you really can't do too much harm if you're getting some guy who's starting in Coors Field. Any other hot takes of where you're looking? Just going to point it out before I pass the torch back to you. If you do go Verlander and Bubik, which I think potentially could be chalky, but I'm not really sure what ownership will be on Chris Bubik. You can hop in our expert chat or check our lineup optimizer to get ownership on him. But if you do that, you have an average of 4,200 for the rest of your lineup. And if you do go with a guy like Molina or any guy who's in that 2,000, 2,100 range, you're up to 4,500 for the rest of your lineup. So that's a good way to build. You can pretty much stack any team that you would like. So, mixing and matching different stacks with that Verlander Bubik combination with a 2K guy like Molina, you can go with all the stacks that we mentioned in different variations. You have an average of 4,500. You can definitely make a 4-man or 5-man stack and go with some value one-offs with that stack pretty easily if you go that route at pitching. But what's your hot take for tomorrow? It doesn't have to be like a super wild card. What do you think is one of the better combo stacks? Whatever you want to go to.
I'll go. Jeez. I'll go with Alcantara's in the winning lineup and not Verlander.
Ooh. That is kind of sneaky, man. I don't know about that one. It's kind of worrisome, but that's a good call. That is a hot take. My hot take is, let's see. I made up the question and now I'm stumped myself.
You ruined it for yourself.
Yeah, I say Bubik goes for, I don't know if it's that much of a hot take, but I say he goes for 18 plus against Chicago tomorrow at 5,500, crushing value, opening up everything on the slate to go get Coors Field or whatever top stack you want. Make sure you go to windailysports.com. Like I said, our MLB home run model is up. So if you like betting props like our guy Jimmy, check out the home run model that we post every single day. It's all based on the numbers. It's not any kind of home bias or favoritism to any player. We got our projection model up there that goes out there. Adam gives his core in our expert chat every single day. We got a Prize Picks video that goes out every day by Jared. Our golf show just kicked off on Tuesday night as well. So if you're playing golf and betting golf, you definitely want to check out that show as well. And then Jared writes an article every day as well. So, and don't forget, this thing called football is right around the corner. So if you want season-long rankings, we have half point, full point, and standard league rankings up at windailysports.com. And we have notes on a lot of players of why we have them higher than the industry. We rate everybody against their ADPs, and we go out on a limb. And our guy Nick Bretwish not only puts his balls in the court and plays along, but he'll put something out. I see a lot of players 50 spots higher than their ADP. So he goes out on a limb. He's got guys that he likes. He got guys that he doesn't like. This is how he drafts, and he's been doing pretty well at fantasy. And Adam, I appreciate you, man, for texting me every day to tell me I'm up an underdog. You saved me again today. I was down to you texted me at 4 hours. I missed that text on Discord, and then you got me with 20 minutes left. I was like, I thought I already missed it by that point because you said you're up when it was 4 hours. I'm like, oh, damn, I missed again. Who did I draft? But I beat the clock by 20 minutes and went with some picks, man. How's your team looking before I let you go? Are you happy with your best ball team over at Underdog right now?
So actually, I just went onto the clock. So we're in round 8. I'm at the 94th overall pick, and right now I went Justin Jefferson. I picked out of the 3 slot. So I went Jefferson, Kamara, coming back around, Mike Williams, Brandon Cooks, and then I have my San Francisco stack with Trey Lance, Ayuk, and George Kittle. So I'm pretty happy, but as I'm working right now, I need a back. And I'm pretty annoyed because Kareem Hunt literally went 1 pick ahead of me, which I had my eyes on. So
yeah, I don't know if he gets traded. Kind of like my team.
If he gets traded, he gets probably number 1 duties. If he doesn't, he's going to split with Nick Chubb and still be a very productive back. He's going as the running back 32 on Underdog. It's way too low.
I got Saquon Barkley with the 13th pick. Devontae Adams. I got the last pick in the draft. Devontae at 12. Barkley at 13. Then I went James Conner at 37, Michael Pittman at 36. Then I come back around and get Juju and Michael Thomas. And then I got MVS and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So I got 3 guys. I figured, one of these guys on KC would probably do something. So why not get them all? Some of them has to score a touchdown. And I'm really high on Saquon Barkley, man. I think this is the year he bounces back. God willing, he stays healthy. He should be in line for a big year. And I saw him in camp today. He truck sticked somebody. So I hope he keeps that for week 8. He's doing stuff like that at week 8. But
you have to love Dable talking really big about getting him into space. That's the kind of running back he is. Feeding him, inside handoffs to go up the middle. It's just not his game. It's not where he's going to excel. Yeah, he's going to pop one off every now and again, but
One
That's
thing
just
I'll
not
never
his thing. Like, he wants to be outside and get him on, and away from people.
One thing I'll never understand, and NFL coaches are a lot smarter than me when it comes to scheming people open. But one thing I'll never understand is you got a guy like Saquon or you got a guy like Kumar or any good pass catching back. Why don't they draw up more plays for them just to get like, a screen pass, or they throw real routes to these guys like one out of every 100 plays, but like screen passes I don't think any linebacker can really stay with a guy like Saquon coming out of the backfield. We see McCaffrey get it, but like all these other guys don't get those touches. Meanwhile, they're guys like Dalvin Cook and Barkley who are small trying to run up the gut on some guy who weighs 350 pounds. Like, you're willing to run him through 350 when your offensive line is pretty much trash, but you're unwilling to just call screen passes for him like once or twice a drive. It's just mind-boggling to me.
It's tough to get that into the playbook when you're running surrender plays from inside the 10-yard line.
Yeah, man. Problems all around, man. Problems all around. But we're excited about NFL. Make sure you check out all the content at windailysports.com. We'll be back tomorrow breaking it down. I won't be here. I actually bought tickets to go see Bill Burr on Wednesday night. So I'm going to go check that out. Tony will be filling in for me tomorrow. And I'll be back on Thursday. Adam, I'm sure you'll be back around either tomorrow or Thursday doing your thing. Good luck, everybody. We are out of here, and we'll be back tomorrow.